Hey guys, it's Kyle, aka Vulcan Wolverine. It's uh it's 12:47 a.m. August 20th, 2020. I kind of wanted to talk more about it, kind of flesh it out more about the Minister of Defense in Poland um, actually reacting to the question about citizens being experimented on by electromagnetic weapons, and talk about that. It happened in 2016. Trying, I'm trying not to just slip into a coma from how bad my torture is. But I really want to go through this, and I hope you guys are hanging in there. Okay, so it's like I always say this. I always say this. It's really bad. I'm gonna push. I'm gonna push with some medical. Once we get the UN, the report read, and then whatever response from the UN gets started, I'm gonna push more. But I hope you guys are getting through this okay. My dad used to say, like when I'd have a problem, like especially at Dell, I got workplace mobbed, and I would be like, Dad, I'm getting workplace mobbed. It's really bad, It's he'd say to me, he'd say, what's the worst they can do? The worst they can do is kill you, right? And it was kind of a joke between me and him, and I think back to that when I'm going through this torture, which is like I wake up and it feels like I need immediate medical care for my spine and my nervous system, and they're really messing up my neck. But I always look back at that because I'm like, they can do a whole lot worse than killing you. But let me get to this. There's some hopeful stuff. Also, before I start on this, I just want to say, with the report being read in the General Assembly in October, and then whatever response the UN's going to give, I think it's a good idea. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to do. I'm going to do as much as I can do, right? I say that all the time. As much as my body and my mind and I can push to get out the information I can get out. I have a couple of things that I want to do. I'm pushing, right? We're all pushing to get this stopped. I think it's a good idea. I'm just going to say I think it's a good idea to all the good information, like from Robert Duncan, Barry Trower, Nick Begich, John Hall, any kind of documents that have come out, anything that the DoD, Air Force Research Laboratory, all those contractors have said, and articles that have been written, right? And they write these articles that are like, yeah, we're really interested in directed energy weapons, and it can disable electronic systems and stuff. But then they stop at that line of human experimentation. We did have the one guy from the Marine Corps saying that they did do human testing to see how much it would heat up the skin. So sometimes it gets through a little bit. They talk a little bit more than they're supposed to. And there's some documents where it, contracts that the Air Force Research Laboratory is giving specifically states, bioeffects on humans, right, from directed energy weapons. So we have some of that information, but the thing is, like, I really think it'd be a really good idea to churn a lot of that information up, right, before what the UN goes over in October, to churn it up, right, and then after that we're gonna have to think of some things and see what they're gonna do, right. I'm really excited. I need something good to happen. My attackers seem to be worried about something. Like they're like, we gotta just stimulate his vagus nerve and get him to stop talking. They seem to be worried about some kind of change, or they're just like, oh well, there's so much chaos in the world, we can go ahead and drive him really insane, right? I mean, the stuff they're doing to my brain is like, just amplifying my brain's activity Like last night, I tried to go to sleep, and they just amplified my brain activity. So I did have sleep deprivation. I had to, I had to take like 0.5 with lorazepam. But let's go through this. I hope you guys are getting through this okay. We're gonna find better solutions. We gotta survive this. The world is just. I'll say something at the end if I remember. A hopeful thing. I hope I remember, and I'll do that because I'm gonna read Psalms like at the end of all my videos. So I'll say it then. I think I'll remember it. I gotta be careful because my attackers will just like interfere with what I want to say. Okay, so we saw that video, right, of the Minister of Defense of Poland. Minister of Defense of Poland conducted in 2016 an analysis on the geographical locations of individuals complaining of electromagnetic attacks. In March 2016, the Minister of Defense of Poland, Antoni Macierewicz, during an interview which was presented at one of the major television networks in Poland, Fakti, was asked to comment on the following question. Does Poland have a strategy in regard to illegal experiments, meaning the testing of electromagnetic weapons on Polish citizens? I thought the music would be good to kind of unentrain me, but like with the singing, it's kind of it interferes with it. I'll find some better music to kind of play in the background. I might get a copyright strike from some of the music I'm playing. Just trying to find something to keep my brain working right and make the videos a little bit better. This sucks, guys. This is really bad. This is really bad. Like, this is really bad. I know it's really bad for all you guys. I mean, I'm just being like murdered in my home, stalked around my condo, and then there's all this stuff on top. I was thinking last night. I was like, there's all this stuff on top. It's to reset the economy. It's to destroy the middle class. It's to destroy America. To bring in the New World Order more, a lot of complicated angles, but I was like thinking about an angle of it, with where neuroweapons experimentation is and how many people it's happening to, and how it's like just right on the edge of like the public just talking about it like it's going on. I was like, are all of these things just a huge distraction from the main goal, right? The main goal, like they're getting some of these things done, but from the vaccine, from more contact tracing, surveillance, and things like that. But I was thinking, like, are all these things, is one angle of it just like a huge distraction on top for the public, so that they can have a little bit longer, perfecting, mapping the mind. Remote neural monitoring, getting this transhumanism ramped up. I don't know, just a thought, but they're getting a lot of that stuff done with the bigger things on top. So the Minister of Defense replied, "Right now we are doing an analysis to identify where people who complain of such ailments are located." Right? So before he was asked the question, they had already done a geographical kind of research of where the complaints, so many complaints in Poland, right? So many complaints, there's complaints everywhere, but they actually admitted to it, right? Poland admitted to it in 2016, and I'm going to show y'all, as far as I know, where it went. And I think we got to go through these things that just prove what's happening, just prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt, like rolling up to the UN report being read and that happening. I want to say, like, and I know we just got to, I want to say this, I don't want to get too long-winded, but, the evil forces in this world, in the New World Order, before they want to do an FF or an event or something like that, or they want something to happen, they prime it, right? They prime it with movies, with propaganda, with the mainstream media saying certain things, even with certain social media. They'll prime people for that evil event to happen, right? They get people prepared in their mind, right? So that it has the right kind of traumatic effect. So us being the good guys, with some of these things that may be good, I think we got to prime it. We've got to pray. We've got to have positive feelings about it. We've got to put out information and connect it even before it happens, and prime as many people. And it's, we don't get out to a lot, right? Because YouTube just completely shadow bans us and throws us in a corner because it's like the most important information in the world. Not being dramatic, this is the most important information in the world that could shed light on everything, right? People talk about it, but they ain't gonna go all the way sometimes. Not everybody. Some people do. But we gotta prime it. We gotta prime it in our hearts and our minds that good things can happen, right? I'll just say it now, but I might say it again at the end, just so I don't forget. It seems like everything's going right for evil, and for people who just want to live good lives and help people, it seems like, or maybe because of what's happening to me, it's a little bit, thinking about my situation, but I see it in a general sense that it's everything's going wrong for good, right? Just to be a good human being, to be compassionate, to do good things seems like it's impossible. It's hard. It's not impossible, but it's very, very hard to get things done, and like everything's going right for evil. And I just, what we got to do is, evil's going to have its time. It said it in the Bible. It's happening. We see it, right? But we've got to hang on to the promises of God, right? We've got to hang on to God's promises, and we've got to hang on to knowing that He is with us, and He is way more powerful than us. And we are fighting for, I'd say, a celestial seed, a divine connection to our Creator, that the system up the top of the pyramid and whatever's controlling them want to erase in humanity. So it's very important. And God's not going to abandon us. So right now it seems like evil is having its day. Everything's going right for evil. But we got to hang in there and hang on to the promises of God and still do the right thing. Even in the hard times when it's not having the effect that we want. And trust in God that when the timing's right, we may die in this. I may die in this, but then afterwards I don't know what happens, and may be able to make a balance there, but we've always got to trust in God. He will give us the strength, and He will be there when we need Him. I know for a lot of you guys, you're in so much pain. You're like, God's not really with. This world is without God, and it's really hurting us. But God is with us if we just reach out for Him, even in these horrible times. A lot of stuff I can't explain, but I know it. I know it. I felt it. It's so real, guys. So I may talk about that towards the end, but let's get through this information. So right now we are doing an analysis to identify where people who complain of such ailments are located. I think that in 6 months I'll be able to tell you more about these matters, but from the limited information I have received, the regions of Southwest, Lower Silesia, and Northwest Poland are where most of the complaints are coming from. So it's in certain regions where complaints of electromagnetic torture were coming from people, remote electromagnetic torture. The report added, the Minister of Defense didn't specify which commission will prepare the report of the experimental use of electromagnetic weapons against Polish citizens, but the Minister of Defense in Poland, legitimized it, and he said, yeah, we've had complaints, and we're going to have a commission, right, to see who's getting experimented on by electromagnetic weapons, right? Completely concrete legitimization of electromagnetic weapon experimentation, directed energy weapon experimentation, neuro weapon experimentation, which is the worst for me. It's the worst part of it for me. Worse than the external hits, worse than the gang stalking, what they're doing to my brain and my nervous system, that kind of pain and amplification of my neurons, and what it's doing to my brain it's, you know, the obvious thing, right? How is this happening? How are they getting away with such brutal murders, but worse than murder, and just people, you know, not a lot of people talk about it, because it's just like, wow, that's just way too evil. How could that be happening, right? Occam's razor, and you know, 50 years of propaganda saying if anybody says anything like that, they're definitely mentally ill, and hurting us so bad and brain hobbling us so bad that we appear mentally ill sometimes, you know. So okay, so this lady asked, does Poland have a strategy in regards to legal experiments? That means the testing of electromagnetic weapons on Polish citizens. Right now, so this is the Minister of Defense of Poland. Right now, we are doing an analysis to identify where people who complain of such ailments and situations are located. So I guess that, I mean, that's pretty much an admission. You know, that he's like, oh, he's not saying, oh, these weapons don't exist. He's like, well, we're locating people who are complaining of these electromagnetic weapons attacks, right? He says, I think in about 6 months I may be able to tell you more in regards to these matters. But from the limited information that I received, the regions of Southwest, Lower Silesia, and Northwest Poland are where most of the complaints are coming from. The Minister of National Defense didn't specify which commission will prepare the report on experimental use of electromagnetic weapons against Polish citizens. Let's go ahead and watch it, guys. Again, I know I put it up earlier. I think that, yeah, this is the one. Let's go ahead and watch it.
Minister obrony mówił o zagrożeniach innych niż te unijne.
Czy państwo polskie posiada strategię wobec nielegalnych badań, to znaczy testowania broni elektromagnetycznej na polskich obywatelach?
Teraz takie analizy robimy, żeby zidentyfikować, gdzie są ludzie, którzy skarżą się na tego typu dolegliwości i tego typu sytuacje. Myślę, że za jakieś pół roku będę mógł Pani odpowiedzieć coś więcej, ale powtarzam, z tych ułamkowych informacji, które do mnie dotarły, Dolny Śląsk, okolice Legnicy i...
You know, at least they're talking about it. At least they did talk about it in 2016. I'll read more about what happened afterwards, but, you know, I think there's still groups in Poland, you know, trying to get it stopped. I'm going to look into that more about where the government of Poland is on it, but I'll show y'all as far as I got for right now, right? I think all this information that concretely validates what we're going through worldwide is targeted individuals, and the scaling up of the technology, the neuroweapons experimentation, the directed energy weapon torture, and everything like that. You know, we gotta churn that back up, because sometimes it's like really good information from maybe 4 years ago or 6 years ago or 2 years ago. It was just right on the money, but it may not have been the right time for people to hear it, right? And we're getting to this time, especially you know, after the documentary Shadowgate, which didn't talk about like directed energy weapon torture and such, but it talked about influencing and cyber agents and stuff like that. You know, people are getting to this place where they're understanding how much manipulation there is by artificial intelligence, right? And that there's direct targeting of certain YouTubers, even in like in a way to influence them on what they say, but even in ways of like psychological warfare to make them want to commit suicide and things like that, just with algorithms of what's put in their pathway, and people who come to their channel and stuff like that. But then it even goes further, right? Because then there's neuroweapons experimentation directed towards people. So it's like Shadowgate gets to this certain point of influence and manipulation and use of AI to control social networks, right? To control election outcomes and things like that. But then it goes even further into experimentation, destruction of lives, gathering data to know how to influence large groups of people by experimenting on people's brains, remote neural monitoring, remote neural manipulating, and many other angles, right? Many other angles. but at least they were, and I can't think of the word, but at least talking about it, at least they were, validating the topic, which we don't get. We had the Senate Investigative Committee on the Cuban embassy attacks, but then when the word microwave came up, everything disappeared about that, right? Everybody got hushed up. So people go to a certain point, and then I think they're contacted by these contractors, intelligence agencies, maybe even the Pentagon, and the Pentagon says, or your family's dead, or they're scared that they may be targeted, or it's just like, hey, this is national security, you can't go into this, right? So it's like the people that are tortured to death, like me and you guys watching this, and other targeted individuals around the world. It's like, that's national security, us killing those American citizens. Let's just talk about the disabling drones and disabling electronics. Ooh, lasers, so cool. High-powered microwaves. No, it's gonna protect our soldiers, right? We're getting these handheld weapons for our soldiers so that they will be able to disable electronics on the battlefield. Yeah, right. I mean, it's affecting human beings, right? And then even further, where it's like brain-to-machine interfaces with, soldiers controlling weaponry, controlling maybe, even robotic soldiers on the battlefield, and going into further even like that.
I ziemia zachodniopomorska to są główne obszary, gdzie takie skargi, nasilenie tych skarg jest największe.
Minister obrony nie sprecyzował, jaka komisja albo zespół przygotują raport.
So I just want to read it over and over again. The Minister of National Defense didn't specify which commission will prepare the report on the experimental use of electromagnetic weapons against Polish citizens. That's not saying it's not saying alleged, it's saying there's experimentation, use of electromagnetic weapons against Polish citizens, and they're going to look into it, right? It's pretty concrete. That's the most concrete you can get right there.
Raport na temat eksperymentów na Polakach z użyciem broni elektromagnetycznej. Jakub Sobieniowski, Fakty.
Okay, so we played that one. Let me cancel this. Go back to that. Go back to the little article there. Okay. So, and this is from, there's a lot of other great things you see on the left that I'm going to look into. I found some really good information. I'll do a live stream where we can go through some really good websites that really sum up kind of the main bullet points of the history of this, and good examples, straightforward, concrete examples. But this is informationbook.com. They don't have a title at the top. Okay, so former Deputy Prime Minister of Poland received massive citizen complaints for deliberate irradiations with electromagnetic weapons. In March 2016, following the announcement by the Minister of Defense of Poland, Antoni Macierewicz, of a geographical analysis for citizen complaints on electromagnetic weapons, former Deputy Prime Minister of Poland, Ludwik Dorn, mentioned during an interview on Polish TV, on TVN24, that people were contacting him in masses, initially as a member of the Workers' Defense Committee, a civil society group in Poland, and later as a politician. So all throughout these years of him going into different jobs, he had people just en masse contacting him and complaining about being irradiated by electromagnetic frequencies, being tortured by directed energy weapons, and probably you had in there, tortured by neuro weapons. I kind of think this. Maybe I'm wrong, guys, but I kind of think if somebody's getting experimented on by directed energy weapons, like external hits and pain and everything like that, then there are neuro weapons in play. There are electromagnetic fields and streams of energy that are at least remote neural monitoring. If not, everybody's getting remote neural manipulated. I don't think there's anybody who, if you are getting targeted, that you're not getting the neuro weapons attacks. Okay, so a civil society group in Poland, and later as a politician, to tell him his assistant to tell him and his assistant that they were persecuted and deliberately irradiated. So here's that interview here. I couldn't pull it up. I tried to pull it up on YouTube, and it was taken down because of a copyright by the television station. But let me read what he's saying. And this is the so this is former Deputy Prime Minister of Poland, Ludwig Dorn. So let's see what he says here. You know, I remember at the beginning of my career, it was connected with my activity in KOR, the Workers' Defense Committee. And later, when I was a politician, people contacted me in masses. They came to me first as a co-worker of KOR and later as a politician, and to my assistant. People who claimed that they were persecuted and deliberately radiated. And this is the same case, and the minister took it seriously as a minister. So Poland took it very seriously in 2016. I think it's gone on from there. We'll go as far as I got, but then I'm going to kind of research it more. You know, and I'm sure maybe some of you guys know a little bit more about what's happening in Poland. It seems to be the country where they've taken this the most seriously. Maybe be a good idea if we start planning on, you know, if the UN doesn't go like we want, maybe moving to Poland, or at least traveling there to see how it is, because maybe Poland has certain statutes and laws in place and things like that, and even the military complex there has certain statutes that it can't do it anymore, or it's less, or if another country wants to do it to its citizen when it goes there, it will not, you know, it will not cooperate with that. We've got to look into that. So in 2016, the Minister of Defense of Poland, following correspondence with victims of electromagnetic harassment, it's electromagnetic torture, it's severe torture, appointed its Inspectorate for Implementation of Innovative Defense Technologies. So Inspectorate for Implementation of Innovative Defense Technologies to serve in coordination with the Ministry for addressing issues. Polish Association Against Electromagnetic Harassment, Stop ZET, had sent a letter to the Ministry of Defense which included symptom descriptions of 16 victims. So, and this is in Polish right here, if anybody can read Polish. But I'm gonna put this article in the description so you guys can look at it. And I've tried to pull up anything in English that kind of correlates with what we're talking about here. The ministry responded with the letter found at the link, which is translated below. So let's read that letter. So the Ministry of National Defense, Office of Complaints and Conclusions in Warsaw, Miss Bernarda Zofia Filipiak, President of Stop Organized Electronic Torture Association. Dear Madam, under the authority of the Minister of National Defense, in reference to your letter of 22nd March 2016, date of receipt to the local office 29th of March 2016, concerning electromagnetic weapons, I would like to thank you for presenting the position in discussion, which especially in recent times, it is not an isolated incident reporting. Not isolated, in mass. People in mass being experimented on, just like in every other country. In every other Five Eye country, but, you know, allies of America, allies of Russia, allies of China, you know, in their countries, their military industrial complexes are doing these exchanges, right? Like, so America would give a smaller country that its allies a certain technology and know how to use it on its citizens, but they would ask for data back, right? So there's this competition between Russia, China, and America, but then also this cooperation globally on gathering that information for global information warfare, global AI systems, and things like that. Global mind control, human control. I would like to kindly inform you that the Ministry of National Defense collects all information and data regarding the subject in question. Therefore, it is extremely important to read the 16 written descriptions of symptoms of specific people. I need to get that translated, like a translated thing, and I'll do a video on that or read it on a live stream. To coordinate these topics on behalf of our department, the Inspectorate for Implementation of Innovative Defense Technologies was appointed. Address for correspondence, Krajewskigo, Scragages 35, Warsaw, which you can also contact directly. The Ministry of National Defense seeks to ensure the security of polls and all public attention is treated with due attention. Sincerely, the Director, Darius Wisniewski. So here's that letter right there. Can't read Polish though. And then it's in it's translated in French too, right there. In April 2016, the Inspectorate for Implementation of Innovative Defense Technologies of the Ministry of Defense of Poland met with victims of electromagnetic torture, Official Association Stop ZET. The Inspectorate had appointed by the Ministry to serve in coordination on the issue. A briefing on the meeting is provided by the president of Stop ZET at the video mentioned at this page. Let's see if that comes up. Loading. Okay, so it's all in Polish, but maybe there's a little video. I didn't check this one. Press allow. Yes, allow. Allow. All right, I'll try and get that for a later video. You know, it's all in Polish, the writing, but screw you, Avast. Let me see, what's this? Again. But I'll try and get that for a later video. I'm sure the page is all in Polish, but there may be a video of some people giving their testimonies, or the actual president, the minister, the inspectorate, you know, talking about it, or the president of Stop ZET. A briefing on the meeting is provided by the president. Okay, so it's the briefing of the meeting. So that would be good to get, but I'm sure he's speaking in Polish, but maybe it has a translation of what he's saying, right? An important misunderstanding occurred following the meeting. A journalist from RMF 24 wrote a brief article which was reproduced by different media. A journalist from RMF 24 wrote a brief article which was reproduced by different media. And I looked up that article. It's all in Polish, but let's see what they said about it. I think I know the problem there. Let's see, on 2016, 5/2/2016, the Inspectorate for Implementation of Innovative Defense Technologies will issue a press release referring to incorrect reporting of information. Excerpt automatically translated by Google. In connection, so this was from the correction by the Inspectorate. In connection with publications on the role of I3TO in the Ministry of Defense's activities in the field of illegal experiments with electromagnetic weapons, we would like to inform you that the information presented in the media has not been accurately forwarded and has not been authorized by I3TO. Contrary to the information provided, the Inspectorate of Implementation of Innovative Defensive Technology should not be the addressee of questions, requests of citizens in this regard. So I guess the article was just saying that, you know, if you have any questions about this, if anybody has any questions about this, forward them to the Inspectorate of the Implementation of Innovative Defense Technologies. So they just corrected that. So, you know, whatever. So 12/15/2016, Minister of Defense of Poland to declassify military archives. So that's as far as I've gotten on it, and I'm not sure. I think there's some more. I think there's some more that the Minister of Defense has talked about, and the government of Poland has talked about. So I'm going to be looking into that and getting that. I don't know if it's going to be right after that. Maybe working on some other stuff and things like that. But these are all in Polish right here. Let's see, this is the Facebook page. I think we should all sign up for the Facebook page. Stops it. Maybe some of you guys already are. Okay, it's not pulling up. Basically, I just wanted to show that. I just kind of wanted to flesh it out a little bit more. But this is the Facebook page of StopZet. So it's an organization in Poland that's trying to get, directed energy weapons torture, neuro weapons torture stopped. They're probably doing some things in regards to what they're sending to the to Niels Melzer. See if there's any English ones. Okay, but that's basically what I wanted to show you guys. And anything else that I find, or anything that you guys have on anything more that Poland's done, please send to me by email. I'll try and be better about checking my emails. And then I wanted to read Psalm 1. I may be just reading the Psalms, like at the end of the videos as a prayer. In the name of Jesus Christ. Psalms 1 through 41. This is Psalms 1. Psalms 1. It goes through all the Psalms, but I'm just going to read this part. Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. Not so the wicked. They are like chaff that the wind blows away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in judgment, nor the sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked leads to destruction. Amen. In the name of Jesus Christ. Alright guys, so I just wanted to show you all that. Do a quick video on it. Not sure when I'll be back, but I'll see you on the next one. I hope everybody's just standing tall, standing firm. Just stay as connected to God as you can. Get prepared. Get your food sources prepared and everything like that. And let's weather the storm. Let's weather the storm and trust in God. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one.